What's going on, everyone? Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown. Hope you guys are having a good Friday to start the weekend. I thought a good thing to send everyone off into the weekend would be a nice little mock draft because we are less than 2 weeks away from the NFL draft. So why not just go through the draft, the mock simulator one more time and see what comes out, right? What to maybe expect when Denver is finally on the clock at pick number 64 for the final pick in round 2. Thanks to the LA Rams. To remind everyone, those are all the picks Denver has in this NFL draft class. So it's going to be a fun one here. I'm looking forward to it. Now, I also just want to kind of ask this question early on. What's your biggest draft bust? Who is someone that you thought was going to be everything for Denver, and it never really panned out? I think Paxton Lynch, I didn't like Paxton Lynch at the time anyway, so I'll be one of those guys that called it. But let me know in the comment section who your personal biggest draft bust is. So on to the mock draft. Here is who's on the clock. We'll just dive right into it. When I'm on the board, when I'm on the clock at number 64, these are the top guys I was looking at here. And sure, Denver needs some help at the offensive line. I talked about that. And also some edge rusher. But I went rogue. I went linebacker. I went Brian Asamoah, the hybrid/safety mix out of Oklahoma. The reason why I picked him is look at the trend NFL offenses are doing, and then you'll see it follow suit defense like a year later. Like I talked about, Cooper Kupp, the Triple Crown winner, where did he work out of? He wasn't a Calvin Johnson or a Randy Moss. He worked out of the slot. You have to have athletic linebackers who can help in pass coverage, and that's what Asamoah offers. He can be a bit of a hybrid nickel, a dime package linebacker who can run sideline to sideline. He was very good last season for Oklahoma, got into the backfield. When you watch his tape, you're like, this dude can run. This dude's got the traits. You just need to see him, the reason why he's not a first-round pick is make the easy tackles look easy, right? Not overdo it. A bit of better improvement of reading offensive lines and getting into the backfield and understanding his assignment. It's the things that coaches are paid to do. But he's got all the athletic traits. So I like this pick at round 2 for Denver. But what do you think about this question? Which position should the Broncos draft first? You're going to go on the offense or defense first, and then narrow it down for me. Offensive tackle, you want to go edge rusher, defensive end? Let me know down below what position you think Denver should be drafting first. Moving on to round 3. Here's who's on the board for the Broncos at number 75. We're looking at some offensive tackles. I even tossed in a running back. I don't think they're going to go running back too early. I really hope they don't. They've got bigger. Well, I just don't think it's this. You can get a good back later in the draft. Especially did it last year with Javonte Williams. But ultimately, I went offensive line. I went with Max Mitchell out of Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns. So he plays with some nastiness to him. A 6'6", nearly 300-pound tackle that offers you a lot of flexibility. You've got Bowles on the left side, so you don't need a left tackle. But he can play either side, so you've liked that having just in case Bowles were to go down, we've got Mitchell who can be a bit of a swing tackle. He can play right tackle for you, which is what Denver needs. Ultimately, this guy just needs some fine-tuning to his technique. That's the cliche that the draft experts love to say. But he's got the physical traits and talents. He's just got to be a little bit smarter with his first step off the snap and where his hand placement is. Things like that once again, in the second, third, fourth round, they need a little bit of work. But it's a good thing you pay coaches because this is what they're for. I also would like to see the Broncos just beef up the offensive line for Russell Wilson. I don't know if you saw this, but Garrett Bowles yesterday, after learning about the Russell Wilson trade and talking to Russ, he's like, I can promise you this, you're not going to get hit in Denver. Well, you know what, Garrett? It's not like the offensive line was all that awesome last year, let's be honest. So I hope you keep your word on that one because I don't want to see Russ get hit. Moving on to round 3 now with the 96 overall pick. I went with another bit of a shocker. Romeo Doubs, the wide receiver out of Nevada. So a couple days ago, I did a mock draft, draft sleepers, and I was like, give me a sleeper. And someone commented this name. So I watched him, and I loved him. I fell in love to the point when I was doing the mock draft, and he was on the board for me. I thought, you know what? Why not? He's a great deep threat type of receiver who can stretch the field. Love his size at 6'2", 200, and it's got strong hands. And what does that mean? It means if you throw it into a tight window towards the sideline with the defender in front of him, he's going to find a way to get his hands on that ball and come down with the catch. He makes the tough catches look easy. It's one of those types of players. And we're also officially in best player available mode for me. Denver does not need a wide receiver. I understand in the moment this pick may not make much sense, but we have no idea. The NFL is such a short-term, what can you do for me now league. You can't guarantee that Judy, Patrick, Sutton, and Hamler are all going to be on the roster in 2023. And so this is a move where I'm like, this is going to be a good wide receiver. Why not get him? I understand maybe his rookie year, he finds a lot of time on the bench because there's no room to break through, but you don't know what's in store for you. And you also don't want to look back and go, wow, the Broncos passed on this awesome wide receiver because they needed an offensive tackle or whatever, maybe a safety, when there was this stud out there. Like, you don't want to look back like we all do and be like, wow, I can't believe this guy fell so far. So those are my day 2 picks right there. Remember, day 2 is rounds 2 and round 3. So those are them. Linebacker, tackle, wide receiver. Get the red pen out, and I want you to lay it on me. Grade my first 3 picks. Usually I do grade my mock draft. This time I'm doing grade my first 3 picks because I'm not trying to just blow off day 3, but let's be honest. Round 7 isn't what's going to get a lot of people's tail wagging. So grade my first 3 picks. Grade the big guys in the draft process. Let me know A, B, C, D, or F. We'll check out the second half of my mock draft in just a second. But if you haven't subscribed, I've got a bit of a pitch here for you to join the channel. We've got Broncos Mock Drafts, the latest draft rumors, so when Denver is meeting with players, interested in players, we check that out. We'll look over draft targets and sleepers. We are one of the fastest growing Broncos channels on YouTube with over 7,000 subscribers, so join a rapidly growing army. And at the end of the video, like we do a lot here on the show, I'll give some shout outs. Get you guys a part of the show. Find me an ESPN show that's doing that. That's incorporating you, the viewer, onto the screen and getting you a part of the show. Day 3 picks now. In round 4, I'm going with Matthew Butler, defensive tackle, kind of help replace Shelby Harris. I know with DJ Jones signing, you don't necessarily need, but again, a defensive tackle, but I'm all about best player available mode here, and that's what I do in day 3. I want the best talent. And Matthew Butler was very good at getting into the backfield, disrupting plays, a lot of tackles for loss. He also may have gone to where I went to school, so it's like way too easy, right? When you see your own college and your team, you can connect the dots right there. Round 4, I went corner here because Denver, they need a little bit of depth in the secondary. So how about Tariq Castro-Fields out of Penn State? He's going to be a nice kind of nickel piece, dime piece corner that's going to get you up on the line of scrimmage, jam you, and in round 4, I'm looking for talent, and I'm looking for depth, especially at positions that are important, and that's corner. When you got to go up against Mahomes and Herbert, and now Carr for a little longer, we'll see, and you don't want to, put out a crappy secondary if you've got some injuries in November or December, so Castro-Fields helps out there. Give me a draft sleeper. I've asked this question before, and now I've incorporated one of your guys' answers onto the show. So let me know someone who you think I'm missing out on or you think is not getting nearly enough buzz as they should be getting down below. Round 5, speaking of sleepers, we talked about this player just yesterday. Charlie Kolar, the tight end out of Iowa State. I like this pick a lot. One, you look at what he did in his career at Ames, 23 touchdowns. This number just keeps continuing to shock me. Like, you don't see that very often from tight ends in the Big 12 on a passing team that's got Brock Purdy as their quarterback. Like, I like this. You lost Noah Fant in the trade. You got to add another tight end somewhere. Why not take a bit of a chance on someone who had 23 scores in his time at Iowa State? Make sure you guys have Russell Wilson jerseys by week 1, because here's the deal. Fanatics and really just anywhere right now, they're having issues with supply chain. We all know this, and trying to get you guys your products and your merchandise and your gear as soon as possible. But if you wait until July or August to get your Russell Wilson jersey, you may be wearing a Drew Lock jersey week 1. You don't be that guy. So go ahead, chatsports.com/Broncos jersey. I got the link in the comments and the description. Hook yourself up. You can get it whatever color, whatever size you want. Make sure you're repping it, and make sure you use the link chatsports.com/Broncos jersey. We're moving on to round 6 here. Tyler Goodson. I go running back. Last time I did a mock draft, I may allegedly have forgotten running back. Not this time. No siree. This time, I've got my RB right now. I like this player out of Iowa a ton. It also helps with the depth behind Javonte Williams, between a nice battle between Goodson and Mike Boone. So to me, this seems like a good pick. And then in round 7, Adam Anderson, the Georgia defensive end, edge rusher. The reason why I went with him in round 7 is, listen, he went to Georgia. Their defense was nasty last year. So in round 7, take a Georgia player. Probably going to be good. That's what I'm going with here. And make sure you are subscribed, because when you do, you get shout-outs on the show. So Angela P., appreciate you. Dion, he let me hear it. Dion, if you're still watching, I am so sorry. I did not know you were that closely related to Bradley Chubb. I will never mention anything about Chubb again. I'm just messing with you. Tayson Lenz, appreciate you for subscribing. Here's your shout-out, buddy. Carlos Bryson Jr., thanks for joining the show. And Joey was the guy who commented the first on our last video, so you get a shout-out too. That's going to do it for us here on today's show. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll catch up with you later with more Broncos news and rumors.